Hi guys, hang with us. We are having a couple little issues, and here we're getting Jason's headphone coming on.
All right, good afternoon. And evidently, I forgot I was going to be sitting, and so we won't use this camera very much. Stand in front of the light, and there we go. So, welcome to studio time. This is the end of the second week of 3 days, 3 times a day, 5 days a week, 8 a.m., 1:30, and you're not helping, Sin. Um, 8 at night. So, I'm going to let Cindy take this over for a minute. Why, I head back over the palette, get things laid out, and I'm going to paint. So I'm going to go a little less kind of instructive today, and I'm going to go all out kind of painting, which doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to be wild man, but maybe not. That's some good posture there. Bending my knees. Anyway, why don't we get off this camera and go check and see what else we got? Try that other wide one, number 4. See what that happens. Well, I'm not even in that one, so.
There you are.
Oh, am I pleasant in it or
Here.
am I like right in it?
Well, that's better. You're
Okay.
kind of close.
You're kind of
Hi,
close.
Miss Susan.
You're making me uncomfortable. You're so close.
Okay, well, hold on. I'm gonna come back here. Hi, guys. Thanks for dealing with us and all our lovely technology. Hang on. Okay, it's watching you mix now.
All right, so I'm just finishing laying out my paint. Unfortunately, since I'm still not a video expert, I was wrestling with the cameras far longer than I anticipated. But you know what? It was a joyful interaction. It was just full of joy. This button and that's the wrong button and that button went the wrong way. And enough of that. Let's paint, let's paint, let's paint.
That's a good way to look at it, for sure.
Okay. Like I said, we don't have dinosaurs trying to eat our children, so things aren't that bad.
Oh, I've
We
recovered. I was laughing so hard in the
we
beginning.
made progress.
I gave myself a side ache.
Okay. Why don't we head to the painting? And here we go. So I don't think I got very far if I got anything yesterday, but I quickly kind of laid this in for the pattern. I wanted to see this is going to be the trees back here. At this point, the values are not right, right? And this is size placement lay-in sort of thing. But today, I'm going to go a little stronger and see if I can't really get things laid in here. So we'll see what happens. But Cindy is here to talk to you, entertain you, take your questions, read your comments. Is there animal painting sometime? All right, we'll have to mark that name down and I'll check that up. I don't have anything set for tonight. If I can find something of good quality that I can do something with, maybe we'll do that tonight. You got it. Ask and you shall receive. So, why don't we head to the palette? And I'm going to start with the tree is going to be an orange. So the umber. Right, and I'm gonna modify that a little bit, but for right now, we're just gonna call that tree value. And then that's gonna have to go through space. And when it goes through space, so we have it here, we're gonna have a little bit of it here behind the wall. There's a rock wall, and then repeated back there. And of course, those limbs are gonna come over and reach across too to really frame this beautiful show we're gonna have right in there. So that is the idea. I'm also probably going to get a base green that I can work off of. Um, and then I want the purple of infinity, the purple of distance. Um, our orange goes almost yellow ochre at one point, and then a pink orange, if that makes sense, up towards the top. And then when we go into our quote unquote blue sky, it's actually a green again. So our green is going to go from up, forward, back. And yeah, these are trees, but they're still green. And then there's going to be another green up here. So green, green, and green. And then that'll give away to a cool purple gray as it goes up. Okay, so those are the kinds of games I'm playing. And when I'm mixing my paint, I want to mix more or less the darkest, richer of that. And again, it's just a starting point. Once I put it up there, I'll know which direction to go. All right, let's palette this thing. Show them some glass. Show them some glass. All right, so our burnt umber here. So our green, and I was trying to remember how we got all these yesterday. I don't remember. Said I'm not in charge, so we want to darken that up a bit. Pretty sure we use some purple. Okay. I have to gray that down a bit. Black. Okay, and how am I finding this? Well, if that's my tree, what step do I want down to my grass? And you see that's still a pretty large step there. Let's keep going down. Keep going down, down, down in value. All right, and I know I kind of got down to business today, but you know what? I'm anxious to paint. Spending all those hours setting up those cameras. Enough with that stuff. Okay, so that actually looks a little darker than I might want it, which is fine. Maybe this is right up next to the tree, some of those crevices, and then we can walk out from that. So I like that. And what else? Yeah, I'm so crazy I didn't even set up my reference image or anything. I thought you were going to talk to these people so I could do this, our friends.
I will talk to them.
You're just here to watch me squirm, I think, and that does not make me comfortable.
No, I just get lost in the paint mixing and the color mixing. I always say that it's very mesmerizing. It looks like butter. Like very green butter, but butter.
All right, well,
Susan says, I love watching you paint. In classes, no one shows you how to pick up, apply, and stroke paint.
it's true. At least in my experience, it's been true. And why does it even matter? Because how you put the paint down and how you apply it affects how it looks, i.e., the value, the color, the all of that. All of that. So it matters. It matters. And just so we're clear, I'm not really thrilled on all this camera work just yet. So you guys hang around. You guys hang around. We're gonna get there. And I didn't mean Cindy's camera work. I meant my setting the cameras up camera work. So okay. So I'm gonna warm up here and get away from technology and into paint. Somebody say something.
Susan said, the other day I was mixing sour cream and all I could think of was paint.
Uh, it's true. It's all relatable, but just make sure you don't get too deep in that and mix up food for paint. There's great stories. Sergei Bongart was a Russian impressionist, lived in the U.S., trained my teacher's teacher. He trained a lot of artists from that are how should we say come of age now. He was working in the 80s, I believe. Anyway, there's a story of him painting late at night and going on really intense. And we're up at the painting now, baby. Okay. Um, See, I grabbed green because I'm paying attention, trying to see where we're at. So let's fix that. Fix that. Pay attention. Cameras. Think about the color you're mixing. Tell the story about Sergey. And don't mess up. And anyway, he's painting, and he reaches over, grabs his little shot of vodka and throws it back, and just a
Oh
cup of
no.
turpentine he just nearly swallowed.
Oh.
So those Russians, tough breed. Tough breed. So yeah, it's okay to think about the texture, but make sure what goes in your mouth is. If you're gonna make the mistake, put food on your canvas, not paint in your mouth. Okay, so I'm gonna be a little rough here, and I want to slow down because I just don't want to flatly cover that with paint. So what's this green here? And what I'm going to do now is that green right next to it, I want it to be very quiet. So almost if that green could be the same value for the first little step of green, then we could lighten it up. Oh, here. What? Yeah, if you change in any of the things, you're changing all the cameras. Remember that? Yeah. Yeah, that's the running four cameras. That's the flippity floppity side.
Learning. How we're learning. I was getting them all good in the palette so you could see all the mixing.
All
But note to self, now I will know.
right. I know, it seems like it changes every time. All right, and we come off of that. I don't want to go too much of that because it's not visible, which is fine for the transition. And then what I'm going to do is as we get just off of that, I want to start getting visible, right, to pull your eye. I mean, we don't really want your eye over here anyway, but it still has a supporting role to play. Okay, and again, I'm just warming up, finally getting into the paint. Get into the paint. Okay, and so one of the things I'm thinking about here is our entrance, our darker, richer. And even if I'm too dark here, that's okay because the light sits on top of that. Think about when you see grass and look into grass and stuff. If you look in between, especially if you're looking towards the ground, the in-between spaces are going to be darker, not lighter. So if this first layer is a bit darker than it needs to be, then I can leave spots of it as I lay pieces of grass on top of that. Does that make sense? Let's see if I can't demonstrate that. Look at me. I told you I wasn't going to teach, and I just can't help it. I can't help it. All right, then as it gets away from the tree too, it might get just slightly more colorful. right? And that'll help pull you away. Okay, and then just, we can even stain that a little darker. So again, we can work on top of it and lay that stuff on top of it. And we don't have this light stuff in between. And then this is definitely this is gonna be warm, but this is kind of the sides of bushes, and this is the end of, well, in Texas we used to say the yard. The yard is what you kept mowed. I'm not sure what the correct lingo is. And then this is gonna be like a gray-green too, going back into space here.
To me, already, just by adding that green in the front with that tree, it instantly separated it. Like it just went.
Yeah, and that's the thing is we want to get it separated, especially at the beginning. Make sure you have that separation. Then the refinements, how much separation? Do we have too much? You know, or where do we want it to come together? Okay. So this is an upright. This is an upright. And so uprights typically are a little bit darker, and especially if the light's behind it, they're going to be backlit. So this didn't end up as dark as I wanted it. And I had a thought about where it was in space. So let me have a look at this thing. Let me have a gander. Because the question is how far, right? How much of the painting do we want of the lake and the reflection of the lake? And then how much do we want in the sky, right? The reflection of the lake is kind of an echoed note, and I think it's important. But it's also important not to make them too equal. So we're going to have lights up front, so we could stay a little bit darker. And why don't we go to a smaller note on the lake and then bigger in the sky? Boom. Did you guys witness that drama at that board meeting? Bam, they laid the hammer down. They're going to shrink that lake. They're going to shrink the lake. There's nothing we can do about it. The decision has been made. High drama, man. It's high drama. All right, so now that I have an idea of what I want to do with these notes, let's see, am I done with yeah, I think for right now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this green, I'm going to grab some gray just to chill things out a bit, man. Things are too crazy right now. Too crazy. We got to settle down. Call Gray. He's a grounder. He always seems to ground us.
Susan asked, "You've probably already answered this, but how do you decide what to use to make it progressively lighter, greater?"
Okay, so that's a good question. And yeah, don't ever hesitate to ask a question, even if I've just answered it.
Yeah, totally.
Um, yeah, because that's just how this works. It's not that you don't understand at one level, but all of a sudden you go, oh, wait a minute, I think there's a different understanding here. And so, and I realize that. So when I say that I answered this earlier, it's just to kind of let students know, wait, what a minute. Oh, that's what he meant when he said that, right? To tie those together.
She said grayer, not greater. Sorry, it was a typo.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
But we knew what you meant. I said it literally, but we knew exactly what you meant.
Okay. So earlier I'd said I was talking about this, and I was talking about the green here, and this note's going to go back, and then we're going to have a note of green across here, which are going to be the trees, and that'll release a little bit back, and then we're going to have a final note of green up here in the sky. And so it's womb, womb, womb. We talked about this being our red, our warm, and it going out into the oranges and the yellows and the pinks. And then I said a grade purple for our infinity color. And when I say infinity and when I say background, part of the meaning of that is what color are we going to use to modify our dominant color? Does that make sense? I feel like maybe you need to see some of my hand gestures to understand that, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Um, all right, so let's try those trees. And I'm going to get to that color in just a minute. And so when I'm there on the palette, we'll talk about it. But right now, I'm kind of testing these far trees over here. And I want to bring them down just so we got enough room for all that sky action, man. Move the furniture. We got a dance tonight. A hoedown in the living room. Okay, and see, and that just feels way too yellow to me. Way too yellow. So I'm going to come over here to this purple. I'm going to gray it off a bit. And then let's work. Right, so you see how cool that purple is going into that green? So now it's just a matter of quantity or a measure of how far I want to gray off those distant trees. Right, and value matters, chroma matters, it all matters. And not only that, I'm going to have near trees and far trees. So this feels a little bit, I don't feel that yellow in there. What's up?
Hang on a sec, guys.
You ever guys had one of those cab rides where it stopped and instead of getting a ride, you got out and ended up pushing the cab? Well, it's not that bad. So come on, let's keep going. All right, what were we doing? We were talking about the palette, give them some glass, and I'm looking at graying this off, cooling it off, and I did it with a grayed purple. Not the exact thing that's going to be back there, but it's going to head in that direction. And so now let's go back to the painting. And I was testing that for those trees back there and saying, yeah, I kind of like the grayness of that. I still don't know if I like the value or the chroma. It still seems a little high. What? It's clicking and blinking. You know what? I'm starting to think that this technology is just jealous of me. I'm thinking it's just jealous and doesn't want to.
Hang on, you guys.
What?
Something's going on with the Friday.
Oh, you're telling them to hang on.
Yeah, no, I'm telling them to hang on.
So let's get off this camera. I don't need a rodeo, and that doesn't help. There we go. All right, maybe, well, that's a bummer because that was the painting camera, huh? All right, hold on. All right, you guys are so patient. Susan? Susan says, oh, you guys are so patient. And that's how I know that I'm not really sharing with you my internal dialogue. So, okay, guys, well, it looks like we've lost that. Here, let's see, that's the wide one there. And then let's see if number 4 will go.
Oh, it flipped it.
Did it flip it again? Oh, it's mirrored again.
Yeah.
Oh, because it was
plugged it in.
reconnected. Okay. Oh my goodness. All right. You guys gonna be able to live with that? Let's live with that. We've got a half hour. Hopefully we make it another half hour. So let's see if we can do that for the painting and then the palette, and see if we can talk these guys into helping us push this taxi to the airport so we can unpack our luggage. All right. Let's see. Let's see. So gray, and it feels a little green too. A little green. So how am I gonna orange that off without killing it? So I'm gonna go with the burnt umber because that's gonna darken it. Okay, let's see what happens with that. Okay, and that feels even a little bit better too. Okay, so have you ever needed to paint miles and miles of trees? I'm about to show you how you can paint miles and miles and miles of trees. All right, take a crew of 10 men, 30 years to plant these trees by hand. I'm going to show how you can do it in just a few minutes. So we can keep this side here closer to us. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to get a little bit smaller brush. Where did all? Here we go. This is a little too small, but it's all I got handy, so we're going to go for it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to the bottom of this green, and I'm going to make it warm. Right? Because generally speaking, as the trees meet the lake, right, you see underneath. We haven't done the reflections yet, so we'll get there. So that's like the bottom of the trees. Call it the dark accent. Rise and fall. Right, maybe it's not all the way everywhere. Everywhere all the time. Okay, so what I'm going to do before I leave that though, since that's right on the water, is I'm going to come off of this note right now very softly. So that where that water and the trees meet, it ain't so clear. I mean exactly where they meet.
Is that like a combination of bridging and soft edges?
Well, it's a little bit of all of that, but again, it's when you're actually painting, it's not so broken apart, if that makes sense. Okay, so now let's go quite a bit cooler. And the purpose here, nope, not cool enough, not cool enough, not light enough, not even on your birthday. Dang, where'd this bouncer come from? I'll go someplace with a nicer doorman. All right. So again, I wanted enough, but not too much. And what I'm going to do is basically show you the top plane of these trees. Right, so there's a side plane facing us and then a dark underneath as we can see underneath the trees and the shadows and all that. So let's just call this the top of the trees, just like we'd say the top of a box or anything else. And then we might just go ahead and soften the edge so there's not a hard edge between those two. Then let's come back down to our green and go a bit darker and a bit grayer. And then just above that light we just put in there, let's put another row of trees. And it's going to be very, very short. Wow, look at all these acres of trees we're planting. Acres and acres and acres. Can anybody guess what's going to happen now? Yep, a top plane. Guess what happens now? Yep, darker, but not as much. And this is where the measure comes in. Like that's too much. I can see that right now. It's way too much. That's way, way, way too much. That's too much even for Betsy. If it's too much for Betsy, well then you know, because Betsy likes a lot. Who's Betsy? Oh, she was a friend that was in Rembrandt's studio with us.
I was just gonna say, who's Betsy?
She's an imaginary friend that I just made up to make a point. I do that sometimes. Okay, maybe I do it a lot. Jeez. Don't have to rub it in. Okay, does that look like rows and rows of trees? Something. Again, it's a little bit rough, but yeah, you can see miles and miles and miles. And then if this guy making up the stories about Betsy, just focus on what he's doing, then we wouldn't have these hard edges where we don't want them, and this would be a little more natural. Okay, so then right above this, if Susan is here, is where we're going to get our infinity color. Right, just right above, and it may be a little bit dirty, so infinity may be up here, but we want to think of like just if we would reach back, what's the most distant point away from us in this painting? And whatever color you put that, then everything else as it goes back into space should go be grayed towards that point. Does that make sense, Susan? You can see the painting now? So in other words, if I choose this purple for back here, then I gray this orange, brown, burnt umber off with that. If this is my infinity color right here, well then I gray this green off with that, right? If that's my infinity color right here, well then I'm going to be graying all of this off toward, right? So when all of the colors, where am I looking? When all of the colors, I'm going to have such a backache. When all of the colors are going or grayed toward a singular spot that's put in the furthest distance in the painting. Oh, that is a nice shot. Why don't we go ahead and unplug that? There we go. Maybe we should just keep that, right? Can we put that as a thumbnail and title it? Introvert finally loses at live streaming.
I'm dying.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
I always use the idea of the infinity color. The actual infinity color doesn't always need to be present, but if it is, you know, it was kind of like I was talking today where we changed the roles of the values for the dark background for the fish. You can do it, but it's not quite quite as you can make it as harmonious, but you know that harmony of that background just wafting through the objects. I mean, literally just really ties everything together. And you're probably not a big Lebowski fan, but you know, the rug, dude, the rug, it really tied the
It
room
tied the room
together.
together. Oh my
So,
god, my stomach hurts.
anywho, where am I? What planet are we on? What's happening here? Okay, oh, we're looking for that infinity color. That's right. All right.
All right, let's see if I can go back.
Man, I'm gonna start charging you admissions,
Oh,
Cindy. You're
serious.
just wow.
I've
Take
already
you from.
laughed off my mascara.
I guess that's why I'm in front of the camera. No, be gentle. Be gentle. Okay. This will be green instead of. Cindy is literally just naturally happy. If you don't know her, you think, oh my gosh, what time does she start drinking? I promise she's just a happy girl. She is just
this
a
is
happy
just me.
girl.
Wiping my eyes. And now I can't breathe. Oh my god. That was so good.
So we make a good team. She can't hold it together, and I'm Mr. Grumpy Pants over here, so it works somehow. It works. All right, let's see. How's that looking? Yeah. So let's try to find that. You're killing me. You're killing me. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to the gray here, and I'm going to add some white, basically just really lightening it up a bit.
Oh, thank you, Susan. She says, you guys crack me up. Thanks you for the joy in the face of life's trials. Oh, just stick with me. You'll laugh all the time.
Yeah, joy's an option.
You just have to laugh.
Joy's an option, but the trials are guaranteed. The trials are guaranteed.
That's true.
Let's see. Yeah, so can you zoom in? Oh, you don't have this.
I
Let's
don't have
see.
the zoom on this one.
You do have the zoom on this one. But we're going to zoom all of them, so we just got to remember to come out. It's way over on the other side of the room, so you have to disconnect to go get it. I thought that'd be a fun game to play during a live show. So here we go.
Okay.
So like if I decide, I don't know, is that? Because what the purple is clouds, because if it was sky, it would be warm. So for that reason, that feels too light to me. So I'm gonna just come back in here, gray it up a bit. And again, I don't want it too cold because it's going through all that sunlight, but let's see. All right, like that feels like that might work. Yeah, it feels like that might work there. So let's just put a little bit of that through the sky. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same color and then start working it from the back of the trees forward. And what that's going to do is the back of those trees, like especially these on this side, are really distant. Let me make sure to get this on the other side. You got to be kidding me. Okay, so
I gotta zoom.
there we go. Okay.
So
So if you guys ever need anything plugged in and unplugged, hopefully I've demonstrated that I'm proficient in that skill, and you'll consider calling me, patronizing my plugging and unplugging business. So, but in the meantime, let's paint. Okay, so we've got that all the way across. So what we'll do now is if I just ever so slightly kiss the top of that green that I put down, it goes way, and this green is way back there. And then not quite so loud. So that worked pretty good. What's that? Yeah, that's probably, and maybe that's what it's doing because that box is mad that we only paid $300 for that one and didn't get its big brother for $600, and so it keeps like throwing a little fit on us. These sensitive technology. You thought artists were sensitive. Wait till you try to plug in a bunch of computers together. See how sensitive they are. All right, so why isn't this looking real? Why isn't this looking real? So we're going to try to go about 10 more minutes, then we'll call it a day. But what I'm going to do is see if I can get back to that beautiful pink sky. So we got some white and Terra Rosa here. And I think that's going to be way too much probably. Oh, let's see, that'd be good little highlights there actually. And this is where you find, you just use it when you get it. Um, right, that's almost as easy as the planting all those trees. Go like that there. That was so fun. I forgot what I was doing. I forgot what I was doing. Was I just going to send that through space? Probably. I'm not sure, but there's early indications that the last 6 months and my intimate relationship with technology may have fried my brain. So you guys let me know if you notice any behavioral changes or anything we need to be concerned about.
You're fine. They would start to question me, and I didn't do any of the stuff that you did.
Was there a question or
Tom
anything?
just said, green is the vaccine for AIDS in visual distancing? Did I get that correct?
Well, so whatever is going to be your visual distance or your infinity color, it needs to be the weakest color up there. And if it's a strong color, well, then it has to be the grade down so far that the other colors are powerful. The problem with green is that it's so weak. You heard me. You heard me. You heard me. Let me crouch down over here. Green's weak. I'm calling you out, Green. You're a punk. You're weak. And so if you've got green, about the only thing weaker than green is like a purple. So green's either got to go to like a pure gray or back to a purple. What? You don't like my mouth? Been married for 2 decades and you're just now telling me you don't like my mouth? God.
I do. I want to see your face.
Jeez. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Oh, I was doing the reflections in the water. So I hope that makes sense. But like if we had an orange, a bright orange or something, I mean, we could have all kinds of backgrounds in there that would be weaker than that. And then if you wanted your star to be like a purple, well, that's going to be almost impossible. Because, right, that's basically the softest, weakest color there is. let's see what I'm going to do in here. So we're going darker, richer there. Whether you guys knew it or not, that's what we're doing. We're going darker, richer. Okay. And so I want some of that reflection of the sky in the lake. And see, the beauty is if you know how this moves, then you're going to just move this the same way. Now, it's going to go opposite in the way, because if this is infinity, there's less and less and less and less in it as we go towards the top. And if this is infinity, then there's less and less and less and less in it as we go towards the bottom. Which the reverse being true, as you go towards infinity, there's going to be more and more and more and more and more of that. And when I say infinity, I mean gray. You're going to gray it down. How are you going to gray it down, like Susan asked earlier, with the infinity color? And if every color goes towards that color and grades toward that, boom, you are a rock star. Freaking rock star. You just get to tour the world and, do whatever the rock stars do. How's that, huh? How's that? A rock star. I'd be like, thank you. No, I'll stay right here. I'm good. I'm good. But that's just me. I mean, that's just me. Maybe you guys can rock it out. Me, I'm a lightweight. All right, well. All right, this is super rough. Now let's get to our green sky. Do I got time to show them some green sky? Of course I do. Who's in charge of this bus?
Susan said, "Good Lord, I must not be ready to hear that yet."
What did I
Is that
say?
the greens? Susan, what's that referencing? Help us.
All right, so we're going for sky. Going for sky. And so it's green. It's green, believe it or not, but it's just not this pure green. What I'm doing right now is going for a value. And once I have it for a value, once we have it for a value, let's just poke it with a little bit of purple. What was she talking about?
She said, "Whatever you were saying about infinity and the clouds."
Okay. Um, all right. When I finish painting here, I'll stop because again, it's something very simple. It sounds complicated, but it's not. So is that a good value up there? Or does that feel too light? I want to say that feels slightly too light. So let's just grab some black, throw that in there, maybe a touch of purple. Right? Purple will bring you down. Purple can bring you down, but I mean, it's not going to like send you into depression. Purple brings you down kind of like coming off the edge of an iced tea or something. It's just bare. It's like, yeah, let's go down. We'll go down. We'll go down about 3.5 inches. So you can get some really nice quiet movements. Now, that's not quite quote unquote as bright, and I like it because it's quieter. And it's going to give those clouds being a gray green that I'm putting up now, the clouds being that red and warm and orange, a chance to shine. So you seen that on the palette? Look at that. And yeah, you know what? I told you that was green. I'm sticking by it. I'm sticking by it. All right. As that goes up, get weaker and out there. And then where's it going to go from there, from that green? Where to go from the green? Well, it'll start leaning into the purple. Ah, I leaned too far. I leaned too far. Could have had it all. Could have had it all. But I leaned too far. Look at that. I mean, that just looks like such a gross color. It's just disgusting. But it just belongs right there. It just belongs right there. So it's funny. Some people think I'm all accepting. Boy, I'm judgy. Not that color. Not in my house. Pretty particular when it comes to that. And let's see, we're gonna come off there again, just less. I haven't even drawn the tree limbs or anything yet. Again, this is just kind of that base like we're talking about in class that everything's got to sit on top of. Like I don't even really consider that I've started painting yet. It's just more or less a size and placement and doing that near to far. And then on top of all this, I can come in and draw the leaves, not the leaves, what are those things that grow out of the limbs? Grow out of the trunks, the limbs. I just said it. The limbs, put the limbs on top of this. The limbs of what? The limbs of the tree. There we go. What was it that Randy said in Sketch Club last night? Could you stop smacking the gum? I chew gum, it helps me think. You're wasting the gum.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's a great scene.
All right, how's that looking there? There, so you see how we kind of die off there towards the back? So let's take a minute now. So let me show you. If I'm going to come from this green up here, what I can do is I just want to take this color here that I'm calling infinity and add a bit of that to it, right? Or maybe it's there in between. I don't know if we want it that cool or not. So let's come over to the palette, please. Right there, you're so good. And so this is the infinity color here. And so if I want to gray off that green that's right up front, I literally just add a little bit of this to it. Okay, and then we'll come over to the painting and we'll test that. And I can set it right behind. And see, that looks like a pretty big jump to me. But maybe that's more appropriate for down here. And then what I do is I'd come back and wherever I got that from, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in some more of that darker green and mix more of that in there and then see if that, you see how that's just a step closer? Let's see. Simple, simple, simple. Boom, 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 boom. All right, so you want to get those measures right. And again, this I haven't tended to this yet. This is still just kind of that white canvas, so that's showing through and messing things up. So again, with the clouds, it's the same thing. If you wanted to, excuse me, start with that color. But the thing about the sunset is it doesn't just go back in infinity. It goes kind of through the rainbow. This gets almost yellow back here in the brightest. And then it goes through, like I said, and get pink. And then in between there's some orange that we're going to find. And so, but it's just marching back till you get closer to that. So each step is, I mean, outside of the glow, right? The glow is its own thing, but the infinity color will even be influenced a little bit by the glow. I hope that makes sense. So if this was just a regular gray day, like I was saying on Reni's painting, then basically you just go grayer and then you'll get closer to the light of the sky as you go down here, right? Just like this is big, our first clouds are big, our next one's a little bit smaller, our next clouds are a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller. These colors are going to go towards the affinity, and these colors are going to go towards the infinity color, right? Infinity is just the background, or think of it as air, right? But you want to, the point is that you consciously choose it, and you consciously choose it for the way that it will affect the quote unquote color of your painting. And when I say color, I mean like the dominant color. Does that make sense? Okay. If not, we can do this dance again. But I think that's it. Why don't we leave it right here so we don't risk blowing it up again? And this weekend I thought that I had off. Maybe I don't.
Oh, right.
I mean, what is? All right.
We're going to remind everybody also, if you have not already given a thumbs up to this video, please do. That helps us out. And if you have just stumbled upon our channel or have not already subscribed, the little button, red button in the bottom right corner of your screen, over this one, there we go. Hit that button and subscribe. It helps us out a lot. That button. Okay, what were you saying? You're still not there. Go right here. Like, pretend you're going to squeeze the little finish, where it says finish.
Oh, I was. I forgot about the delay, though.
There.
So I was adjusting my movements on what I had done about 45 seconds ago, so it didn't work. All right. Anything else? All right. So tonight at 8 o'clock, did we get the name of that artist she was talking about? Okay. All right. So I'll check him out, and if not tonight, maybe we can look at him some other time. All right. So tonight at 8, and then we'll have a weekend off until Sunday night. So you guys have a good time, paint, have fun. Let us know what you think we should do. Yeah, be beautiful. Bye, everybody.